The sky of Velthara burned red that night. Smoke and plasma fire painted the horizon like bleeding stars. The war between the United Human Fleet and the Alarian Dominion had turned the once green planet into a graveyard of broken ships and silent screams. Through the storm of ash walked Lieutenant Marcus Hale, his armor cracked, his oxygen meter flashing red. He had lost contact with his unit hours ago. Every breath burned his lungs. The air here was thin, toxic, and smelled like metal and blood. He moved through the wreckage, scanning for survivors. Human or alien, it didn't matter now. War had taken too many. Then he saw it. Half buried in crimson dust, a small Ilarian dropship lay torn open. Sparks flickered from its shattered hull. A faint sound came from inside, a voice. Weak. Female. Struggling. Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle, unsure. The Ilarians were enemies. But his medic's instinct overpowered his fear. He pushed through the wreckage and froze. Lying on the ground was an Ilarian commander, her silver armor soaked in violet blood. Her skin shimmered faintly under the planet's dim light, pale blue, almost translucent. Her chest rose unevenly, and strange symbols glowed weakly on her neck. Her name tag, written in alien script, flickered beside a cracked insignia. Sarai of the Alaris. Marcus knelt beside her. Hey, stay with me, he said quietly, though he knew she couldn't understand his language. Her eyes fluttered open, deep amethyst, unfocused, and she whispered something that sounded like a plea. He checked her vitals, weak pulse, internal bleeding, oxygen drop. She was dying. He called on his med scanner, but the device blinked red. Incompatible biology. Treatment rejected. Damn it, he muttered. There was no human medicine that could fix an alien wound like this. Her blood chemistry was too different, too unstable. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping his wrist. For a second, their eyes met. Fear. Pain. A strange kind of trust. Marcus hesitated only a heartbeat. Then he pulled off his glove, exposed his arm, and whispered, "Screw the rules." He connected his emergency blood transfusion injector, overriding the system's warning alarms. The machine screamed, "Warning, cross-species transfusion prohibited." He ignored it. The needle clicked into his vein. Another slid into hers. Human blood began to flow. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Sarai's body convulsed violently. The violet of her blood mixed with his red in the tube, swirling into a glowing shade of magenta. The light spread through her veins, pulsing like small stars. Marcus panicked. No, 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 stay with me. He held her hand tightly, feeling her skin grow warm beneath his touch. The glow reached her heart. Her chest arched up. Then, stillness. Silence. He thought she was gone. He bowed his head, his breath trembling. "I tried," he whispered. "I'm sorry." Then a sound, a soft, steady heartbeat, echoed through his medical scanner. The light on her chest flared once, bright and golden. Her breathing returned. Marcus stared in disbelief. "That's impossible." He touched his own arm. His veins were glowing faintly, the same color as hers. His heartbeat quickened, synchronized with hers through the bloodlines still connecting them. Sarai's eyes opened slowly. She looked at him, dazed but alive. Her lips trembled as she spoke in broken galactic common. "You saved me." Marcus froze. She had spoken in his language. That wasn't possible either. Her eyes locked onto his arm, the faint glow traveling beneath his skin. "Your blood," she whispered. "It changed me." The wind outside screamed like the planet itself was angry. The dust storm rose, covering the wreckage. Marcus quickly detached the transfusion line and lifted her gently onto his back. She was surprisingly light, fragile, yet burning with strange heat. "Hold on," he said, staggering through the storm toward his beacon signal. "Don't die on me now." Every step was harder than the last. His body felt heavier, his vision blurring. He heard faint whispers, Sarai's voice, but not from her mouth. It was inside his mind. "Your world, it's bright. I see it." Marcus stumbled, almost falling. The dust storm thickened, lightning flashing purple above. For a second, he thought he saw something impossible, their blood glowing through the storm, forming a thin path of light that led toward the horizon. He pushed on, carrying her through the crimson wasteland until his knees buckled near the ruins of an old outpost. His strength was gone. His body was burning. He laid Sarai down gently, checked her pulse. It was strong, steady. She was breathing. Alive. Then the pain hit him. His vision split into flashes, images of alien worlds, strange stars, her face illuminated by blue fire. He clutched his head and screamed. Inside her chest, the same light pulsed again, faster this time, as if answering his pain. When Marcus finally collapsed beside her, both of their hearts beat in perfect rhythm. Somewhere in the night sky, the twin moons of Velthara aligned, casting a beam of pale silver across the battlefield. It landed on them both, two broken enemies connected by one impossible act of mercy. As the scene faded to silence, her hand moved slightly, touching his. Her eyes opened one last time, glowing faintly as she whispered, barely audible. "Human blood sings." And the screen fades to black. The medical outpost on Velthara's edge was quiet that night. Wind brushed against steel walls, carrying the smell of dust and burnt metal. Only one room still had lights, Medbay 3, where 2 lives had defied the laws of biology. Lieutenant Marcus Hale sat beside the bed, his arm wrapped in a bandage that faintly glowed beneath the cloth. Across from him lay Sarai, the alien commander he had saved with his own blood. Machines hummed softly, confused by readings they couldn't explain. The human doctor on duty, Dr. Kellner, stared at the monitors. "Her vitals are stable," he muttered. "But your blood shouldn't even exist in her system. It's rewriting her cell structure." Marcus rubbed his temple. He hadn't slept in 20 hours. "I just did what I could. She was dying." Kellner sighed. "You did more than that. You changed her." Inside the room, Sarai's body trembled slightly under the medical sheets. Her skin shimmered in faint patterns, like constellations forming beneath her veins. Each pulse seemed to echo Marcus's own heartbeat. Then the lights flickered. Marcus looked up. "What the?" Every monitor on the wall began flashing in rhythm with their heartbeats. On one screen, both of their pulse lines matched perfectly, 2 steady signals moving as one. Kellner backed away. "That's not possible." The power surged. Sparks leaped from the ceiling. Alarms went off. Marcus rushed to Sarai's side, holding her hand as her body convulsed. Her eyes snapped open, glowing with twin colors, violet and gold. For a moment, the entire medbay was filled with blinding light. Then silence. Sarai gasped, eyes darting around the room like someone seeing the world for the first time. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice soft, musical, and strangely human in tone. Marcus exhaled in relief. "You're safe. You're in a human facility. You were dying, She interrupted him, her gaze piercing. "You gave me your blood." Marcus froze. "You remember that?" She nodded slowly. "I felt it, burning. Then, warmth." Her hand moved to her chest. "It's still inside me. Your life is inside me." Kellner swallowed hard. "Lieutenant, step back. I'm calling command. This is beyond protocol." Marcus didn't move. "Don't you dare call them. They'll lock her up, study her." "She's alien, Marcus. She's carrying human DNA now. We don't know what that means." Sarai looked between them, confused but calm. "Your kind fears what it doesn't understand," she said softly. "So does mine." Marcus met her gaze. "Then maybe it's time someone stopped being afraid." For a long moment, no one spoke. The storm outside howled louder, rattling the metal walls. Then the intercom buzzed. "Lieutenant Hale, report to command center immediately." Marcus clenched his fists. They already knew. He turned back to Sarai. "Rest. I'll be back soon." But as he turned to leave, her hand caught his wrist. "Don't," she whispered. "They won't understand. You changed me, and I changed you." Her words made him pause. "What do you mean?" Sarai's eyes flickered with faint golden light. "Close your eyes." He hesitated, then did. Instantly, visions flooded his mind, alien skies, violet oceans, cities made of glass and song. He saw through her memories, her pain, her childhood, her war. Then, in the middle of it all, he saw himself, a human, standing beside her under two suns. He opened his eyes, gasping. "What did you just do?" "I didn't do it," she said quietly. "Our blood did." Before he could reply, the door slid open and Colonel Varin entered, his face sharp with authority. "Lieutenant Hale. You're relieved of duty. Step away from the subject." "She's not a subject," Marcus growled. Varin's gaze turned icy. "She's an alien commander infected with human genes. We're taking her to Central for analysis." Two guards stepped forward. Sarai tried to sit up, but Marcus stood between them. "You'll have to go through me first." "Don't make this harder," the colonel warned. But before anyone could move, the floor vibrated. The lights turned white-hot. A soft hum filled the air, coming from Sarai. Her body glowed brighter than before. The machine started beeping uncontrollably. Energy readings spiked. The guards staggered back. Then Sarai spoke, her voice echoing in a strange harmony. "Do not touch him." A wave of light burst from her chest, knocking everyone back. Marcus shielded his face as the glow filled the room. When it faded, Sarai was trembling, and the power grid had gone completely dark. Varin, dazed, stumbled to his feet. What did she do?" Marcus rushed to her side. She was breathing fast, her skin cooling down. "She's scared," Marcus said. "She doesn't even know what's happening." The colonel pointed a shaking finger. "You've bonded with her, Hale. You've created something unnatural. Command will want answers." As soldiers dragged him from the room, Marcus looked back one last time. Sarai lay in the shadows, her glowing eyes following him. She whispered faintly, almost inaudible. "They'll never understand. But you will." That night, Marcus was locked in isolation. The medbay remained under heavy guard. But deep in the dark, Sarai's heartbeat pulsed in perfect rhythm with his, through walls, through silence, through the thin thread of blood that now connected two species forever. And outside, under the storm's restless light, the alien moon turned red again, as if the planet itself was watching something it could not believe. The next morning came without light. Velthara's twin suns were hidden behind red clouds that rumbled like distant drums. Inside Outpost Delta 9, everything smelled of metal and fear. Lieutenant Marcus Hale sat alone in an interrogation room. A single lamp shone above him, cold and sharp. His hands were cuffed. His blood still glowed faintly beneath the skin. Across the table, Colonel Varin paced like a restless wolf. "You transfused alien blood?" "Without clearance," he snapped. Marcus stayed silent. Varin slammed a datapad on the table. The hologram above it showed Sarai's body, floating in a containment field, covered with medical sensors. "She's rewriting her DNA," Varin said. "Do you understand what that means? You may have created a hybrid weapon." Marcus lifted his eyes, calm but defiant. "I didn't create a weapon," he said. "I saved a life." The colonel leaned closer. "Sometimes saving a life ends 1,000 more." Before Marcus could answer, the lights flickered. The floor vibrated softly, like a heartbeat moving through the metal. A voice came through the intercom, nervous and shaky. "Sir, it's the Ilarian prisoner. Something's happening in the medbay." Varin cursed and stormed out. Marcus sat still, waiting. The hum inside his chest grew louder. Then, with a sudden spark, the cuffs around his wrists unlocked, metal bending slightly, as if reacting to that strange inner pulse. He stared at his glowing veins. "What are you doing to me, Sarai?" he whispered. Down in Medbay 3, panic spread. Doctors shouted. Machines screamed warnings in alien tones. Inside the containment field, Sarai hovered a few inches above the bed, her body surrounded by a sphere of violet and gold energy. The marks on her skin glowed brighter than any scanner could measure. When Colonel Varin and his guards burst in, the air itself seemed to hum. "Keep the field stable," he barked. "Do not let her out." But Sarai's eyes were already open, calm, focused, unafraid. You fear me because you don't understand me, she said softly. Her voice carried through the glass as if no barrier existed. Then she turned her head, slowly, directly toward where Marcus was being held several corridors away. Varin froze. How does she? Lieutenant Hale, she whispered, eyes distant. Can you hear me? Marcus, still in the interrogation room, gasped. He could hear her voice, inside his mind. Yes, he thought without speaking. I can hear you. Sarai smiled faintly. They will try to separate us. They can't. Our blood has merged. It speaks in ways your science cannot. The guards raised their weapons as her containment field began to melt like glass. Varin shouted, "Hold fire!" But it was too late. The energy burst outward, not as an explosion, but as a wave of light. It passed through walls, metal, and people like a silent storm. Alarms died. Lights turned white. Every digital screen went black. Then, silence. Marcus's cell door clicked open on its own. He stepped out slowly. The hall lights glowed faintly gold. In the distance, a figure walked toward him through the haze, barefoot, her white hair drifting like smoke. Sarai. She looked changed. More human in shape, yet more alien in presence. Her eyes now held two colors, his human brown mixed with her Illyrian violet. He wanted to speak, but words failed. You shouldn't have come, he whispered. I didn't, she said gently. We came together. He frowned. What do you mean? Sarai placed her hand over his chest. A soft warmth spread through him, and he saw flashes again, this time clearer. A web of light connected every cell in their bodies. His DNA strands twisted alongside hers, forming patterns never seen by any scientist. We are one biological signal now, she said. Your cells live inside me. Mine live inside you. If they kill me, you die too. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Then they'll hunt us both. They already are. Alarms began again, this time mechanical and angry. Boots thundered down the corridor. Varin's voice boomed from the speakers. Stand down, Lieutenant. She's dangerous. Marcus pulled Sarai close. Run. Together, they sprinted down the corridor, weaving through sparks and smoke. Energy surged behind them, blasts from security drones. Marcus fired his sidearm, taking down a drone that flew too close. Hangar Bay, he shouted. We can steal a shuttle. But Sarai stopped mid-run, gripping the wall. Her eyes widened in pain. She gasped, clutching her abdomen. Marcus, something's wrong. He turned, terrified. What's happening? She fell to her knees. A glowing pulse rippled through her body, spreading to the floor. Her voice shook. The fusion, it's changing faster. Your blood, it's creating something new inside me. Marcus knelt beside her, panic in his eyes. We'll fix this. I promise. She looked up, tears of light forming in her eyes. It's not something you fix. It's something that's growing. Footsteps thundered closer. Marcus grabbed her arm, helping her stand. Then we run. Together. She nodded weakly, and they disappeared into the smoke, two shadows joined by forbidden blood and a heartbeat that no longer belonged to just one species. As the alarms echoed behind them, Varin watched from the control room feed, his face pale, voice trembling. Get me the Galactic Council, he said. We may have just witnessed the birth of something the universe isn't ready for. The chase across Velthara had lasted for 2 days. The world that once burned with war was now silent, its deserts glowing faintly from the energy storms that followed Marcus and Sarai wherever they went. They had stolen a small Recon flyer, hiding between canyons as patrol ships searched above. At night, the sky shimmered with 2 moons, and the sand turned silver. Sarai lay inside the cracked hull of the flyer, her breathing uneven. Her skin flickered between alien blue and pale human tones. Marcus sat beside her, tightening his grip on his rifle, though his hand trembled. He whispered softly, "They'll find us soon." Sarai's voice was faint, almost dreamlike. "It doesn't matter. They already know what we've done." Marcus frowned. "Who?" "The Galactic Council," she said. They've seen the readings from the outpost. They call it the blood fusion. They think I'm contaminated. Outside, lightning flashed across the dunes, followed by a low rumble that shook the ground. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. Contaminated? You're not infected. You're alive because of me. Sarai opened her eyes, glowing dimly. And you're changing because of me. He looked down at his arm, the veins faintly golden beneath his skin. He'd noticed his reflexes had sharpened, his strength increasing every hour. He didn't need food or rest as much anymore. Something alien was inside him now, too. Sarai reached for his hand. The Council fears what we've become. They will not let us live. Before Marcus could reply, the sky roared. A beam of blue light split the clouds, descending like the judgment of gods. A council cruiser, massive, silent, made of shining obsidian, hovered above the desert. Its shadow swallowed the flyer whole. Marcus's heart raced. They found us. A voice boomed from above, calm but commanding. Lieutenant Marcus Hale of the United Human Fleet and Commander Sarai of the Alarian Dominion, you are charged with violation of interspecies genetic law and the creation of a hybrid entity. Surrender immediately. Sarai closed her eyes. They're not here to arrest us. They're here to erase us. Marcus looked at her, defiant. Then they'll have to try. He grabbed the flyer's manual controls. The engine sputtered, roaring weakly to life. The ship lifted a few feet before the cruiser's gravity field dragged it back down. Suddenly, Sarai placed her hand over the console. Her eyes glowed bright gold, and the entire flyer responded, its broken systems reawakening under her energy. The ship shot forward like a comet, bursting through the sandstorm. The cruiser opened fire, beams of plasma raining from the sky. Marcus dodged and weaved between the explosions, his body reacting faster than human reflex should allow. Sarai gasped as she held onto the controls. Marcus, your blood, it's inside me, but it's also guiding you. He grinned through the chaos. Guess we're synced, heh? A plasma bolt hit near the rear thrusters, spinning the flyer violently. They crashed through a ridge, scraping across the ground until the ship skidded to a stop beside a cliff. Smoke poured out. Marcus coughed, grabbing Sarai before she could fall. Her body was trembling, veins glowing bright gold. Sarai! Talk to me! She opened her eyes slowly. I'm fine. But it's growing faster now. He froze. What's growing? She hesitated, placing a trembling hand on her abdomen. The hybrid cell cluster. It's alive. Marcus's mind went blank. You mean? She nodded weakly. Something inside me is forming. It's not just blood, it's life. Our life. Before he could react, the communicator on the dashboard flickered to life. A holographic projection formed, tall alien figures in regal robes. The Galactic Council. Their faces were stern, cold, illuminated by starlight. One of them spoke, voice filled with judgment. Commander Sarai of Alaris, you have broken the first biolaw. Human blood and Alarian genes cannot merge without catastrophic results. You have risked the balance of species. Sarai raised her chin. The balance you speak of was built on fear. Another counselor leaned forward. And you, human. You defied your own command's orders. You created a genetic bridge. You are both guilty. Marcus stepped closer to the hologram, his voice calm but fierce. I didn't create a bridge. I saved a life. That's what humans do, we try, even when it's impossible. The alien voices murmured in disapproval. One spoke louder, then you will both be erased before your mistake spreads. Sarai's eyes burned with tears that glowed faintly. You call it a mistake, she said softly, but it's evolution. The hologram flickered away. A deep hum began to fill the air, the cruiser charging its main weapon. Marcus turned to Sarai. We have to move now. She shook her head. If we run, they'll destroy the planet trying to kill us. I can stop them, but it will cost me. No, Marcus said quickly. There has to be another way. She smiled weakly. There isn't. You gave me your blood, Marcus. Let me give you something back. She stepped out of the broken ship, standing beneath the crimson sky. Her hair drifted in the storm wind as energy built around her body. She spread her arms, light rising like a sun from her chest. The cruiser's weapon fired, an immense blue beam that split the sky. Sarai raised her hand, and the beam stopped, frozen in midair. The ground cracked beneath her feet. The air trembled. Marcus shouted her name, but the light swallowed everything. When the storm cleared, the cruiser was gone, vanished into silent dust. Sarai collapsed, her body dimming, her skin pale. Marcus ran to her, holding her in his arms. Her pulse was faint. She smiled weakly, whispering, "The council will come again. You must run. Protect what we've made." He stared at her, voice breaking. "Sarai, what have we made?" Her trembling hand rested over her stomach. "Hope," she said softly. "Hope that breathes." Then her eyes closed, and the golden light around her faded into the storm. Marcus held her close, his heart shattering beneath the crimson dust. Above them, the sky rumbled once more, distant ships approaching, drawn by the energy she released. The war wasn't over. But something new had begun. The sun rose over Velthara's red desert, painting the dunes with gold and fire. For the first time in weeks, there was silence. No gunfire, no alarms, only wind. Marcus Hale sat alone beside a burnt-out flyer. His uniform was torn, his eyes hollow. He had buried Sarai's body beneath a pile of glowing stones that shimmered softly under the twin suns. He had not slept since. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her, her smile, her words, the golden light that had saved them both. He whispered to the wind, "You said to protect it, but what did you mean?" Then he heard it, faint at first, a heartbeat. Not his own. He froze. The sound came from inside the small survival shelter nearby. Marcus rushed inside. On the metal floor lay Sarai's cloak, glowing faintly. And within its folds, something moving. A small, pulsating orb of golden light, surrounded by faint mist. Marcus stared, his breath catching. "No way!" The orb pulsed faster, then slowly unfolded. Inside was a form. Tiny hands. Soft blue skin with a warm human tone beneath. Luminous eyes that opened for the first time, violet with a flicker of brown. A child. Marcus knelt down, trembling. The little being looked at him, blinking slowly. Then it reached out, touching his hand. His vision blurred. "Sarai," he whispered. "You left her with me." The child smiled faintly, though it could not speak. Its touch was warm, too warm for any living thing. When he picked it up, its heart pulsed in sync with his own. He wrapped the child gently in the cloak and stepped outside into the rising sunlight. The wind carried whispers through the dunes, soft voices from unseen tribes that watched from afar. Word had already spread. A man walked the desert carrying light in his arms. By nightfall, Marcus reached an old Illyrian village hidden among crystal canyons. The air shimmered with faint blue mist, and the walls were carved with alien symbols that glowed when touched. Elder voices echoed as he entered. The desert nomads, a neutral race, neither human nor Illyrian, emerged from their tents. Their eyes widened when they saw the child. "She bears the mark of 2 sons," an elder whispered. "Born of the blood bond." Marcus bowed his head. "She's innocent. She doesn't deserve your fear." The elder smiled faintly. "We do not fear her, human. We revere her." The legend spoke of a union between sky and soil, between bloods that should never meet. "That child is the Dawn." Marcus looked down at the sleeping baby. "Her name is Dawn," he murmured. "That's what Sarai would have called her." The elder nodded slowly. "Then protect her, guardian of blood. The council will come for her soon. They will not allow this life to exist." Weeks passed. Marcus stayed with the nomads, raising the child in secret. She grew fast, too fast. Within days she could walk, within weeks she could speak. Her voice was gentle, filled with curiosity. "Why does the sky cry when I laugh?" she once asked as glowing rain began to fall around them. Marcus smiled. "Maybe it's happy tears." At night, Dawn would sit on his lap, her eyes reflecting the stars. "Do I have a mother?" she asked once. He hesitated, then nodded. Yes. She was brave. She loved you before you were even born. The child touched her chest. I feel her here and here, she said, pointing at the sky. Marcus's throat tightened. She's watching, kiddo. Always. But peace never lasts long on Velthara. One night, alarms rang through the canyon. Blue fire streaked across the sky. Council drones, hundreds of them, descended like metallic angels. The nomads scattered, shouting. Marcus grabbed Dawn and ran toward the caves. The drone speakers echoed through the desert. Return the hybrid child. By decree of the Galactic Council, she is classified as a biological threat. Marcus's voice shook with rage. She's a child, not a weapon. He turned to Dawn, who stared at the glowing drones, unafraid. Dad, she whispered, they're afraid of me. Stay behind me, he said, aiming his rifle. But before he could fire, the child stepped forward. Her hands glowed softly, the same golden light Sarai once carried. She lifted them toward the sky. The wind stopped. The desert itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, without warning, every drone froze midair. Their lights flickered, systems failing. One by one, they dropped harmlessly into the sand. Marcus stood in shock. Dawn, what did you? She turned to him, her voice calm and wise, too mature for her small frame. I didn't hurt them. I just told them to sleep. Her eyes shimmered with soft tears. I don't want to fight, Dad. I just want to see the stars. Marcus knelt, his eyes wet. You will, he said. I promise. He hugged her tightly as the night filled with the gentle hum of energy fading away. Above them, the twin suns began to rise again, casting gold and violet light across the dunes. And for the first time since the war, both the human and alien skies looked peaceful. But far beyond Velthara, deep in the cold heart of the galaxy, the Council watched through holographic eyes. One of them spoke quietly. The child of two suns lives. She has inherited both compassion and power. Another answered, then she is both our greatest hope and our greatest fear. And in that silence, the universe began to change. The world had grown quiet again. Too quiet. 4 months, Marcus and Dawn lived hidden in the shadow valleys of Velthara, among glowing rocks that hummed softly under the twin suns. But every silence felt heavier, like the calm before a storm. At night, Marcus would watch Dawn sleep. She wasn't a normal child. Her body gave off faint light, her hair shimmering between gold and silver strands. Sometimes, when she dreamed, her voice echoed in the air like distant music. He whispered to himself, "You're the reason she died, and the reason I keep living." Dawn stirred, half asleep. "You talk to Mom again," she murmured. Marcus froze. You heard that?" She smiled faintly without opening her eyes. "She talks back sometimes." He swallowed hard. "What does she say?" Dawn opened her glowing eyes and whispered, "She says you're not ready to say goodbye." By morning, the sky changed. Ships. Dozens of them. Sleek, black, silent. The Galactic Council's vanguard fleet had arrived. Marcus saw the flashes of metal high above and felt his stomach twist. "They found us." The nomads began to evacuate, their crystal tents collapsing into the sand. One elder shouted, "Guardian of blood, take the child and run." But there was nowhere left to run. Dawn walked up beside him, her small hand clutching his sleeve. "They're scared again, Dad." He looked down at her. "Yeah. And that makes them dangerous." "They don't have to be." Before Marcus could answer, a light streaked down from the sky, an impact that sent a shockwave through the valley. Sand and dust erupted everywhere. From the crater stepped the Council's high enforcer, wrapped in metallic armor that pulsed with energy. His voice was deep, mechanical, and filled with authority. "Human, you have protected an illegal hybrid. Step aside." Marcus raised his weapon. "She's my daughter." The enforcer's eyes glowed red. "She's not your daughter. She's the end of your species." Dawn stepped forward before Marcus could stop her. "No," she said quietly, her voice calm but steady. "I'm not the end. I'm the bridge." The enforcer raised his hand, and energy crackled between his fingers. Then I will break the bridge. He fired. Marcus jumped in front of Dawn. The plasma blast hit his chest and threw him backward. He hit the ground hard, smoke rising from his armor. "Dad!" Dawn screamed. She fell beside him, tears glowing like liquid light. Marcus's breath came in short bursts. "Don't cry, kiddo. Not yet." She shook her head, gripping his hand. "I can fix you." "Dawn, no." But her hands were already glowing. She pressed them against his wound. Golden energy spread across his chest, sealing the burn, but something deeper happened. The veins in her arms turned red, human red, and Marcus's body began to glow with her light. Their pulses aligned again, beating as one. Marcus felt warmth flooding through him, his strength returning, but Dawn was fading. Her light dimmed. "Stop," he gasped. "You're giving too much." She smiled weakly. "It's okay. You gave me life once. Now I'm giving it back." Behind them, the enforcer charged again, raising his weapon. Marcus turned, rage in his eyes. "You'll never touch her again." He fired, but not from his rifle. The golden light burst from his palm, pure and bright, striking the enforcer like a thunderbolt. The impact sent shockwaves across the valley, shattering rock and glass. When the dust cleared, the enforcer was gone, reduced to ash. But Marcus fell to his knees, trembling. Dawn was unconscious, her light nearly gone. He lifted her gently, whispering, "Stay with me, please." Her eyelids fluttered. "Dad, the blood. It connects us." He nodded, tears falling. "Yeah, it does. You're my blood. Always." She touched his cheek with a shaking hand. "Then we'll never be apart." Her glow spread again, soft, fading like the last light of sunset. The air shimmered around them, and a strange energy filled the space between their hearts. Marcus realized what was happening. "No. Dawn, don't." But she smiled. "It's not goodbye, Dad. It's change." The energy surged, enveloping them both. Their heartbeats merged into one final rhythm, a sound that echoed across the desert like a living drum. When the light faded, Marcus stood alone. The child was gone. Only a small crystal remained in his hands, glowing faintly with golden veins, warm, alive. Inside, he could see tiny flickers of starlight. He whispered her name. "Dawn." The wind carried her voice, soft and gentle. "I'm still here." He clutched the crystal to his chest and fell to his knees, crying beneath the red suns. Far above Velthara, the Council's fleet retreated in silence. The High Enforcer's ship sent one final message before vanishing into the void. Target neutralized. Hybrid energy dispersed. But the planet is glowing. And from space, Velthara shone brighter than ever, its deserts forming new rivers of gold. The planet itself had come alive. Marcus stood among the dunes, staring at the light spreading across the horizon. He smiled faintly through his tears. "The blood that binds," he whispered. "It never dies." Years passed on Velthara, but the story of that desert never died. Where once there was war and dust, now there was life. Golden rivers flowed where Marcus had buried his daughter. The dunes shimmered at night, humming softly with energy that no scientist could explain. The nomads called it the pulse of dawn. The humans called it the blood miracle. And the Ilarians, they called it forgiveness. Marcus Hale had grown older. His hair turned silver, his armor long abandoned. He lived in a small hut carved into the glowing rock, where the light of the twin suns shone every morning. Every sunrise, he stood on the cliff and whispered, "Good morning, kiddo." And every time, the desert answered with a soft hum, like a heartbeat in the earth. He smiled faintly. He knew she was still there. Not gone. Just changed. Far above, the Galactic Council gathered once again, older, quieter, and divided. The oldest counselor spoke, voice heavy with guilt. "Velthara lives. The hybrid energy did not destroy, it healed." Another answered, "It turned the planet into something new. Half human atmosphere, half Ilarian biosphere. It shouldn't exist, yet it thrives." The hall fell silent. Then a hologram flickered, an image of the desert, glowing under two suns. And standing at its heart, a figure. A young woman, golden light radiating from her skin. Her eyes, violet and brown, watched the stars with calm wisdom. "She lives," whispered the first counselor. "The child of the blood union." Down on the planet, Marcus heard the hum change. It grew louder, warmer. He stepped outside, gripping the small crystal he'd carried all these years. The one that held the last echo of his daughter's light. It pulsed once, then cracked gently. Golden mist rose from his hand, swirling in the air until it shaped itself into a silhouette. She stood before him, taller now, older, radiant. Her voice was soft and clear. "Hi, Dad." Marcus froze. His eyes filled with tears. "Dawn." She smiled. "You kept your promise. You protected me, even when I wasn't here." He reached out, his hands shaking. "I thought I lost you." "You can't lose what you're made of," she said gently. "You gave me your blood, your heart, your hope. I just became what you believed in." He laughed through tears. "You sound like your mother." Dawn's expression softened. "She's part of me too. She's part of everything now." She turned toward the horizon. The golden rivers shimmered brighter as her feet touched the sand. From beneath her steps, flowers of light bloomed, half human flora, half alien crystal. "This planet is alive because of your choice," she said. "You changed more than a life, Dad. You changed two worlds." Marcus wiped his tears. "The council, they'll come again." Dawn shook her head. "No. They'll come to learn." Above them, streaks of blue and silver broke through the sky, ships descending. But this time, no weapons fired. Human envoys stepped down beside Illyrian diplomats. For the first time in galactic history, soldiers and scholars from both sides stood together, staring at the living miracle before them. A scientist whispered, "It's paradise." Another said, "It's her. The dawn of a new species." Dawn smiled at them, her voice carrying across the wind. "There is no new species. There is only life, when fear ends." She lifted her hand, and golden light rippled outward, touching everyone. For a brief, breathtaking moment, they all felt it, each heartbeat sinking, human and alien alike, as one rhythm. Silence followed. Then tears. Then hope. Later that night, Marcus sat beside a small campfire, watching the twin suns fade. Dawn sat beside him, her light faint but comforting. He looked at her. "So what happens now?" She smiled. "Now we begin again." He chuckled softly. "You sound like her." "I am her," she said quietly. "And you. And every life that will come after." Marcus stared at the stars, the same stars that once witnessed war. Now they watched peace being born. He took a slow breath. "Guess humanity didn't save an alien after all." Dawn tilted her head. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "Maybe an alien saved humanity." For a long time, they sat in silence, side by side, father and daughter, light and dust, past and future. The wind whispered through the canyons. The desert glowed like molten gold. And as the twin suns rose again, the narrator's voice would close the story. From a single drop of blood, the stars learned compassion. From one human's mercy, a galaxy found hope. And in the light of two suns, life began anew.